Lettering friends, thank you for joining me for day 6 chatter. Hello, and how are you? If you're here on the replay and you have any questions about this broadcast, you can certainly send me a message on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook, or right through the blog through the comments section. Good evening. Hi Lori. Hi Tina. Thanks for coming in. Hello. Thank you so much for inviting followers. We have made it to day 6. What do you think so far? Hi, Amber. For those of you that are following for the first time, my name is Lisa. I blog at CreativLEI.com, looking at life creatively. And this October, we are on a 31-day challenge to love your lettering. So much fun. Oh, good. Lefty Marcy. Hi, I'm Lefty Lisa. Wendy from Cami Girl. I'm so glad you guys are enjoying it. I've been peeking in on Instagram. You're finally live, Debbie. I'm glad you're here too. Hi, Pen Dance. I think, let's see. Nope, I don't remember. I'm slowly trying to learn. Oh, and yours is not on your profile. You can let me know your first name and I will try to learn them. Thanks for joining, Jeanette. Hi, ladies. Thanks for coming in. Oh, you guys are amazing. You guys have got this room pretty full. So day 6, let's recap. Today was altering our letters. So yesterday we learned some of the rules, like we were looking at the different shapes that make up each letter, keeping our lines straight and making sure everything was open. What kind of lettering am I discussing? Today we're talking about altering. So we're going to talk about what the names of the letter anatomy is, and then how we did small things to change those letters. So the lesson that was up, or the assignment that was up on the blog today, I'm pulling that post up now so I can read along while you guys are all here. And so the instruction was, what I did was I did a line of regular type, like regular print, just kind of open and straight letters. And then on the next line, the name of my blog is CreativLEI.com. If you look in my swipe and look in my profile, the URL is there and it should be clickable if you want to click over as soon as the broadcast is over. So I did small variations, and so one of the first things that I told you was to use the diagram that I had on the blog that kind of labeled each piece of the anatomy of a letter. And I know we had some questions. I know I saw a few times people wondering what the difference between a stem and a sender is. And so that is, the stem is basically the start or the straight start of any letter. So like for my example, I used the word break, and the B, the stem was the straight line that began the B. The ascender is any point that goes above the waistline. So at the end of my sample, I had you draw the cap line, the baseline, and the waistline. And so the waistline is kind of the waist of a capital letter, or it's the top of where your minuscule letters are. So capital letters are also called majuscules, and then your lowercase are also called minuscule. So the waistline is kind of that center point. And actually another way to alter letters, which we'll probably cover tomorrow in adding whimsy to your letters, is to change the waistline of the letters. Not just, you can alter any part of the letter. Today I altered mostly the bowls of the letters, and the bowls are the rounded parts. You'll have to watch the replay to see what you've missed. This is first time watching one of my scopes. Well, welcome, and I don't know your first name. You're Hannah. It's nice to meet you, Hannah. We've just begun, really. You guys are still coming in. So my name is Lisa. I blog at CreativLEI.com, and those of you that are here for the Love Your Lettering Challenge for October. And you guys have been rocking it. I know I've seen plenty of samples where I'm like, you could be doing lettering all the time because you have beautiful penmanship. And it's going to be fun for me to watch as you start, if you've never used some of the different pens for styles later in the month, it's going to be fun for me to watch your styles emerge. because I know some of you are already adding whimsy to your letters, which is tomorrow's lesson. You're skipping ahead. But it's fun. It's fun to really see you guys owning what you're doing in your books. And there's, very, very few rules. Someone asked if you could use the back of the page. Absolutely. Non-cake related. Thank you, those of you that are here that are cake decorators. I know I have watched in on a couple of your scopes because I love watching how you guys create. The materials, Bonnie, there is a link to the post that I wrote that had suggested materials, but all of them are optional. The one major suggestion that I had was a graph paper or quad rule composition book for practicing in, because the quad rule provides a grid for us to use as guidelines, and a composition book keeps everything nice and neat and together. Cookie decorators too. Yeah, you guys rock the art of edible art. It's pretty neat to watch you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. And so I'm really here at night to recap what the lesson was, or the assignment that was in the post, and to answer any questions that you may have had going through the lesson. I do not have printouts for most of these lessons because, graph paper and a binder is absolutely good enough. I recommend the graph paper over lined paper just because of the vertical guidelines will be very helpful, especially for some of the styles that we'll do. It's a good starting off point without having to draw in guidelines, because nobody's got time for that. So today was our first kind of break away from some of the rules. We've spent the past almost week, we're almost together for a week, which is pretty awesome to me, learning some of the basic foundational rules of penmanship and kind of going back to old school penmanship practice with print and cursive. And most of us only did lowercase cursive, which is fine, because when we get into more whimsical letters, you're really going to alter those caps anyway. So we'll touch upon all that with different styles and mixing them. There is an index post, as 31 Days to Love Your Lettering, on my blog, and that has our tentative schedule for the month. And as each post goes live, all those titles will become links to the appropriate posts. And so each night I get onto Periscope just to be here to answer any questions that you have for the day. And of course, if you have questions from today's lesson or any of the previous lessons, you can go ahead and be putting those in the comments as I speak. And that way, hopefully I'll get to them while we're on here together. So each night around 10:30, depending on the craziness here in our home, I'll hop on just to answer those questions and to show you my notebook. That way, if you have questions about what I had put up in the photos on the blog, we can go ahead and get those tackled. Or if you need to see me demonstrate out a letter or word, I can do that as well. And I think that during this week, it's probably not as crucial because we're really just making... yes, all the lessons are on my blog from the previous assignments. This week we're still just kind of altering our regular print and regular cursive, but I know that next week and the week after, when we start to use special pens, you may want to see a live demonstration of positioning and things like that. So that's what we're here for. We're just recapping. My blog is CreativLEI.com. If you swipe over and to look at my profile, there is a clickable URL in there that you can check out as soon as the broadcast is over. And this whole series will remain on the blog after October is over. I am taking part in the Write 31 Days challenge, and this was my challenge. There is actually Pascal Lamb has it correct, CreativLEI without that extra, well, it's not an extra E, but for me it is. CreativLEI.com. So that's where you can find me, and everything is on there. I'm still working on getting everything to release at the right time in the morning so that it goes out properly from the mail server, which I'm still having some glitches in. But I really appreciate your patience while I figure that all out. This is the first time I've done a big series like this, so it's a lot of growing pains for me, and your patience is greatly, greatly appreciated. Last night, for everyone that was on the broadcast, I also shared 2 pieces of lettering work that I did that is now available on the blog as a free download and printable for all subscribers. So if you haven't seen that yet, that post is live too. And that will also go out to my weekly readers as well. So if you have any questions for me, or you needed to see anything, go ahead and put that up now, because I'm not going to stay on too long. It's getting kind of late and I'm pretty tired. And my 2.5-year-old is still awake, so we need to get her into bed. So I'll flip the camera and just show you what I had for today. And of course, these are the same pictures that are on the blog, but I can point and explain. You forgot to print last night. Oh no, I just put them up today. They were not on the blog last night. I had to get them all scanned and uploaded and get them in there properly. So there is a blog post that has them. Let me turn and get you the title. It says, "A thank you gift for your support" is the title of that blog post, and both prints are available to download from there. You'll just need to enter your email and you will get a link right to your inbox for downloading them. Those links are usually good for 72 hours before they expire. If it expires, you can just go ahead and put your email in again. You won't receive a duplicate spot on the regular newsletter. Your 5-month-old is so wide awake. Yeah, my children are not great sleepers, not all the time. And she had a nap this afternoon until 7 this evening, which means it's probably going to be a late night. Thank you. I appreciate your compliment. It was fun to do that, especially to let you guys see some more examples of what you could be working on as you start to learn different font styles and things like that. But we'll talk about all the combining styles and working on different paper later in the month after we've had a few more weeks below under our belt. It's been so long I can't remember what some of the letters looked like. I had to look them up. Yeah, and maybe another time I will put together a more like a guideline. But I wanted to kind of work through that together, to not just give you something to copy, but really to have you work on refining what you already do, what you already write, because that's part of loving your lettering, is embracing the differences that we each have in our own penmanship and recognizing the characteristics that we've probably inherited from our family members or samples that we've seen along our life. First time on, just checking out what you do, loving the new thing. Oh, good. We are doing a lettering challenge this month for embracing and finding your own hand lettering style and kind of diving into creative lettering also. And we are just beginning to get into the creative side of it. The past few days have really just been about refining the foundations of penmanship. We talked about yesterday, we learned the rules so that we can I do the word apple in print? I certainly can. And I just got my bag out of the car, so you'll have to bear with me while I get an appropriate pen out, because everything is packed up. And let me see, where is my tripod? Oh, okay. Well, and the other thing is, at the end of each broadcast, I am on catch.me/CreativLEI. Sorry. And as each broadcast ends, I am going back and putting the embedded video from Catch into the appropriate post, so that at the end of this series, everything will be exactly where it should be for people to refer back to later on. Or if you want to share this with friends that can't catch up with us right now and want to catch it later, they most certainly can, because this will remain available on the blog. Thanks for coming in, Nikki. Okay, so I'm going to put you in the tripod so I can show you. So yeah, this has been fun for me. This is the first time I've done a big series like this, and so you girls have been great for encouraging me through this process and having patience for me working out how to get things out in time. Okay. So I am left-handed. I can do right-handed on a blackboard, but when I'm working small, my right hand is not as neat as my left hand. I was more ambidextric when I was younger. I know there are lots of right-handed letterers out there, and I totally understand if you would prefer right-handed instruction, but hopefully some of the techniques that I'm teaching, whether you're right-handed or left-handed, you'll be able to pick up tips and tricks and learn these techniques anyway. I know that positioning for holding things will be a little bit different, but I will have some broadcasts where I'm able to scope with right-handed people. Yay, look at all these lefties out there. That's awesome. Because there was a lot missing for us when I was looking around for instruction. Most of my instructors have all been right-handed, and so I've had to learn how to compensate from right-handed instruction. Thank you, Treats Dimples. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. So I'm going to flip the camera and we'll get, okay. You were born left but pushed to go right. My cousin had the same problem. He was a natural lefty, and they forced him to go right-handed, and his writing is not legible. Okay, so someone asked for the word apple, and let's see if that's nice and clear. So that would be regular, and now let's go some of the different styles that I talked about today. So if I wanted to make wide bowls, which are the round parts, so we've got that. Narrow bowls, slanted. So by slanting, I'm not slanting the stem, I'm slanting portions of the bowl. And then tiny. So that's what we talked about today, was just changing really just small portions of the letters to create a different style. Because now tomorrow we're going to talk about adding whimsy, and then what we'll do later is combine the different things, because like when I'm doing, and of course the samples that I have on my desk are not great samples of that. Like this is a combination of brush script and a serif print. And then this one would be print that, and it's not going to focus. Come on, focus. It does not want to focus. But these letters just have some whimsy added, so I've got some squiggles and things, and that is going to be fun tomorrow. And I think you guys are going to really like how you watch your letters transform just by adding a few little swirls here and there. The other thing that I like to do for changing the style a little bit, like say I have I like to make my ascenders go higher than my capitals, because it just adds another look. Slanted B versus a slanted D. Okay, so let's see. So we've got the B and a D. Or you could even do like that. You could slant it either way. Which it probably, I think it looks better this way. This looks like a music note. So, and that's a lot of creative lettering, is kind of just pushing the rules to find out what works. Last part of the assignment was to label the strokes. Could I do that? Sure. Let's see. Give me a word to label. So and in case anybody likes this notepad, because it's really just cute. It's got a drawing section, and then it's got a perforated lined section. I found this at Marshall's. I think it was either $2.99 or $3.99. I am a stationery junkie and a pen snob, so I have probably more paper than one person needs. Do another apple? Okay. So let's see. All right. Okay, so let me grab. Trying to grab a guide. So, okay. So let's make this the baseline. This would be the cap line. This would be the waist. Okay. So then this way would be your cap height, your capital height. And I spelled that wrong, didn't I? I'm going to confuse myself now. Sorry. Spelling is not my forte. I check things probably 4 and 5 times before I write them usually. Okay. So, how I would, and I'm going to not, this, I just got a new tripod, but I haven't tried it yet during a scope. Okay. Can't really talk and letter at the same time, or I'll definitely spell things wrong. So this part is the ascender because it goes above the waistline. So imagine that the waistline, and of course I'm not working in lines. Okay. So interested in being a lefty. I know everything's kind of backwards for me. So sometimes I will do the crossbar at the waistline. Sometimes I'll do it below the waistline because changing where your crossbars are is going to change the look of your letter. The same thing with the E. I mean, you can hug it tight towards the top of the minuscule, or I could have done it low too. And it gives you different style for the same letter, which is fun when you're mixing things. So of course the rounded parts are the bowls. So the stem would be the portion that begins the letter. Okay, this would be a crossbar. These are descenders because they descend from the baseline. This part of the E would likely be considered the tail because the tail is, and when you get to cursive, the tail is what's going to connect to your next letter. What else do we have? Inside of any of your letters is your counter space. And the curve, does the S have a label? Yes, it is. This part is considered the spine. And then this would be considered the tail. And this, I believe, is the arch. Which the angles that you're doing in your P's or your A's or the N's and M's, those are considered, like this portion right here, right there, would be considered the arch. Let's see, what else do I have? And so the slant, why are there 2 lines? Yeah, I was just showing that you could either have the crossbar at the waistline or above or below the waistline. Yeah, I just have 2 because I was showing you different ways. Same with the E. I just put the crossbar in different locations just to show you how it changes the look of the letter. Because it's one of the ways that we can alter it when we're doing lettered pieces to really make it fun. So what else? Of course, if you have the feet on your letters, which we'll do later in this week, these are the serifs. That just means with a foot. And we didn't label that in today's example because we weren't really doing, we're going to do that in a couple days. I think that's on my list. And then the difference between the slants and slope and the stem. The stem is just what the piece is. The stem is where the letter begins. The slant or the slope would be the angle at which it's written. So it would be like another guideline. So like this has like a 0-degree slant because it's going straight up and down. If I was angling it, like, let's see. So here it would be the line or the direction that we're slanting in, or the slope. If you remember geometry, which I'm not going to go into math. I don't really prefer math. I am an artist. I do as little math as I can. My husband is an engineer and he laughs that I eyeball everything and I don't measure. My brand new tripod that just got out of the box has a level in it, and so he was showing me the positions I can use it in to keep it level, and he's like, but you're not ever going to use that, are you? You're just going to eyeball it, and I totally am. The ascender and the stem. The stem is just the straight line. The ascender is any portion of that that goes above the waistline. So with a straight, like an L or a K, you could certainly consider it the whole thing a stem, but just knowing that the part that's going above the waistline is your ascender, just like the stem of the P has a descender, so it's a portion that goes below the baseline. Oh, goodness. Yeah, I wonder if that's just, and I see your picture's up, so I'm not sure. But yeah, sometimes Periscope is still a little glitchy for us because it's still in baby stages. It is fun. You enjoyed calligraphy in college, but rusty now. Yeah, I took calligraphy back in high school and have done more kind of self-learning since then, and just a lot of experimenting. So, any other questions or anything else you guys want clarification on or want to see my lefty scribble? So, and this pen that I'm using right now is the Staedtler Fineliner. And these are the pens that I typically use in my journaling Bible because they don't bleed through. Thank you. You found the blog so much information that it helps to see it talked out. And that's been the fun part for me, to couple what I'm writing with getting to meet with you in the evenings here on Periscope, because it helps to answer any questions so that you're not left feeling overwhelmed. And I think as we go on to different styles, I think just the blog post would have had some of you guys running because you don't consider yourselves artists. And that's why I've been saying from the beginning that hand lettering is part art, but is greatly skill. And skills can be improved upon. You can learn skills. You don't necessarily have to be naturally gifted in them. And so that's why I wanted to encourage everyone to just kind of stick with it. I'm taking you really slowly through the steps so that we build up the confidence and build up our ability to kind of push the limits of the lettering. Don't mind my mess. So thank you. So I'll go ahead and make this the 2-minute warning. If you have any other questions or need anything else clarified, go ahead and put that in the chat. Yeah, it is. It's definitely building skills, and that's why lots of people have asked, would this be appropriate for their kids to go through too? And I know my daughter that homeschools wants to go through this, and she's been practicing on lots of scratch paper. We haven't put her notebook together yet, but we intend to. But this would certainly be appropriate for kids or teens that want to do creative lettering, and just, it's a fun way to get them to work on penmanship without necessarily doing whole pages full of the same letter. We're kind of breaking it up, hopefully, in my opinion, into a fun way of learning it all and just kind of refining things. Thank you. You have a great night too. The pen that I'm using doesn't bleed through my Bible. No, it doesn't. There's some shadowing, but not bleed through unless I go over the line a number of times. 1 second. Let me take you out of the tripod, and I'll show you an example of it in my journaling Bible. And I just sent my pen flying. Sorry. So this is the ESV journaling Bible. Yeah, I think there are lots of people that are losing penmanship. I am thankful my 3rd grader is in public school and she's learning cursive this year, which I know some schools have come away from cursive because, with the advent of all the use of the computer. So this is my test page in my journaling Bible. Getty Italic I like that kids are learning italic. Welcome, Marta. My blog is CreativLEI.com, and the URL is in my profile here. So this is the sample page that I use in my journaling Bible. Thank you so much, Stephanie, for putting that up there. And this is in the back. There was a blank page of my Bible, and this is the same weight paper as the remaining pages. So I use this as my test page anytime I want to try a new pen in there. And you can see some of them that I haven't even actually made it in here. But so I look to see what the bleed through is going to be. And so this has some shadowing, but not the bleed through like some of the brush markers do. Let me see if I can turn to an example. I know I've been using it a lot. So let's see. So like that has shadowing, but not bleed through. So like this page. And of course the phone is going to take a long time to focus. I have the ESV single column journaling Bible from Crossway Books. So I have water stains because there was a water bottle open in my bag one time. So of course some of my edge decorations have run through my pages, but that's okay. So like that. You can see it's shadowing through, but it's not bleeding through. This marker bled through just a tiny bit. So here, this had bleed through because I went over the same spot a bunch of times. Oh, thank you. So that is what I would consider bleed through, because it actually, the ink seeped through the fibers of the paper, where this hasn't bled through, but it does shadow. But this doesn't bother me too much because other writing over it. Do I keep it closed to do the edges? Yes, I did keep it closed to paint the edges. It has an elastic band very similar to like a Moleskine journal. So when I was doing the edges, I did keep that closed. And when I did this edge, I held it, I kind of put some pressure on it to hold the pages kind of straight. So there's that. I've got 2 of my favorite Bible study verses there, and then the top and bottom edges are colored with Tombow markers. So there's a little bit of that. So yeah, the Staedtler Fineliners are pens that I like, especially for Bible study. Also because they're slow to dry up. So if it's left without a cap, I don't have to worry about it drying up on me, because my Zigs and my Pigma markers do tend to be a little more sensitive. Sorry. Dropping pen caps everywhere. Taking you guys for a wild ride. So that's all I have for tonight. If you guys don't have any other questions, I post a pic of my journaling Bible. If you go onto my Instagram, I actually have quite a number of pictures from my journaling Bible and also from the Journal and Doodle Bible studies that I follow along with. Thank you. It's been fun. I look forward to coming and chatting with you guys and checking in with you at the end of the day to see how it went. And hopefully these assignments have been intentionally kept nice and short so that they can be done, because I don't want anyone to feel like, oh, I'm days and days behind and I need to drop out of the series. You totally don't. The lessons are short, so even if you have to do 2 in one day, hopefully it's not too much. And then on the weekends, we're going to take it really slow and give you time to catch up, to look for inspiration. I'll be sharing some of my Pinterest boards and things like that, things that I look for when I'm looking for inspiration to get different styles practiced and things like that. Typography is really, really fun to break into. Taking notes at work is making you think. Yeah, like and we'll talk later in the month as we start to close the series about, what to do next. I usually keep graph paper in my my meal planning books and stuff. So when I plan my cookie list for Christmas and my Thanksgiving menu, a lot of times I'll doodle a border on it, or I'll letter the title and make my check boxes for my shopping and stuff like that. So you can have fun with just the easiest, with your menial tasks, and it gives you a chance to use your penmanship. And that's one of the reasons why I encourage practicing writing, even if you don't get really heavy into the creative lettering, to practice your handwriting, because it's part of the legacy that you pass on. I know that a lot of my natural handwriting has some similarities to both my mom and my dad. And I know that my dad's handwriting has a lot of similarities to his late mother. And so I think about that as part of the legacy that gets passed on. How many of you like to flip through recipe books or recipe cards from your grandparents and other family members and things like that? I think, in an age where we text and email and all that, handwriting still has value. I mean, who doesn't like to receive a card in the mail that has their name written on it? There's some things that we shouldn't let go of completely. But of course, I love all old dyeing arts. I also knit and spin yarn. So, I mean, I love it all. And I think that it's good to get creative with this type of stuff. So I'm going to end this now. If you have any other questions that we haven't addressed, by all means leave a comment on the blog or send me a message. I love hearing from you guys, and I've been trying to stay on top of answering in a timely manner. You even have a few recipes that you bought at a yard sale that are handwritten. Actually, in the lettering page that I did that is on the blog right now, the one that says "Don't let the storm dull your hope," the umbrella is actually made of vintage ledger paper that I got from a local thrift store, because I love finding old lettering samples. And so I have stacks and stacks of old books and old lettering, and every once in a while I'll actually break into the stash to use it. And so this was a fun thing to use in order to create a print for you guys, especially those of you that have been following along with the lettering. I knew that you would appreciate seeing some of that old copper plate penmanship, because it's just beautiful. It is an art all on its own, and to think that that's how the writing just used to be. That's what you learned, and that's what you did with the dip pens. Of course, we won't be using a dip pen in this series, because we're keeping this hopefully as attainable as possible for everyone to at least give it a try. And so that's all I have for tonight. I look forward to talking to you guys tomorrow night and getting a new lesson up for you tomorrow morning. We're going to add whimsy to our letters, and it's going to be fun. I'll talk to you then. Bye-bye.